As the government pledges billions more to help the NHS, we examine the troubling death of a well-known GP here in Manchester 6 weeks ago. His son, who is himself a prominent heart specialist, blames his father's death on an extremely slow response by the local ambulance service, which, like ambulance services across the country, seems badly overstretched and perilously understaffed. This is the Michael Crick report for Mail Plus. Kailash Chand was a leading family doctor, not just in Manchester, but nationally. A former deputy chairman of the Council of the Doctors' Union, the British Medical Association. He also dabbled in politics, as here just 12 days before he died.
So my appeal today is to all the MPs that when the second reading of health bill comes in, to oppose it.
Chand's son, Asim Malhotra, a cardiologist in London, will never forget Monday the 26th of July, when his father in Manchester rang to say he had chest pains.
And when I called back 15 minutes later, there was no answer. I called again and again, and eventually somebody picked up, which was the neighbour of Dad, who was quite anxious and panic-stricken, clearly on the phone. And I just remember her saying to me, "Asim, your father's had a cardiac arrest. We're doing CPR on him, but the ambulance is coming."
That reassured Malhotra. He was confident that the paramedics, due within minutes, would soon revive his father.
Usually, for at least 10 to 20 minutes, there is a heart rhythm that is shockable. In other words, if you get a defibrillator onto these patients, 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to shock them out of it. The ambulance didn't come in 10 minutes. It didn't come in 15 minutes. It didn't come in 20 minutes. It was more than 30 minutes before the ambulance arrived. I was on the phone the whole time. They FaceTimed me as they attached the cardiac monitor to Dad, and it was a flat line. There was nothing to shock. He was gone.
The new system has 4 groups of calls.
Ambulance service, is the patient breathing?
The North West Ambulance Service's target for life-threatening calls is for a team to be with the patient within just 7 minutes. But CCTV footage from the building that night shows the paramedics took over half an hour, more than 4 times their target. Chand's best friend, a top psychiatric consultant, had got to the flat a few minutes before he died.
When I got that SOS call from Asim, his son first of all, and then I spoke to Kailash Chand, I decided I've just got to go there to be with my friend.
JS Bamra took us inside and recalled the tragic scene.
I walked in with my wife. Kailash was actually prostrate over here. And the paramedics, there were 3 paramedics over here. They were obviously CPRing him.
But it was too late.
Without a shadow of a doubt, Michael, knowing my dad's history, knowing the post-mortem findings, knowing that he was otherwise very well, that he would be alive today if they'd come in time.
In this case, it was over 30 minutes, I believe. And it's well above that time that, they have as a target, which is very worrying because there are other instances where I've heard about ambulances not being able to turn up in time. Obviously not because they're doing nothing, they're saving a lot of lives, but they are overstretched. The demand is such that, ambulance services obviously cannot meet with that demand.
Since the last COVID lockdown, the ambulance service in the Northwest, as across the country, has been in demand as never before. Post-lockdown demand was up by a quarter on 2 years before.
I've been in the NHS, a member of the NHS for 39 years. I've been with the ambulance service for 31, and I've never known pressure that we're under at the moment. Since lockdown has eased, demand on ambulance services is at unprecedented levels.
And the worst day of all, exactly a week before Kailash Chand died, was so-called Freedom Day, the 19th of July.
That was the busiest day ever for North West Ambulance Service, with 600 6,500 calls, and I think nationally it was also noted that that was the busiest day nationally. But 6,500 calls. We just currently we don't have those resources to meet that demand.
I'm speaking out because it appears not to be just an isolated case. I have gathered evidence and spoken to people who've told me this is a systemic issue across the NHS in many regions throughout the country, and has been so in July. The other reason is it appeared clear to me, having had discussion with someone very senior in NHS England, that this information about the fact that ambulances are not responding to emergencies in time has been deliberately withheld by the Department of Health and NHS England from the public and from doctors.
The North West Ambulance Service have expressed their condolences to Kailash Chand's family, but say they can't comment on what actually happened in his case until they've investigated the official complaint made to them by his son. Meanwhile, this ambulance service, like ambulance services elsewhere, will be hoping for some relief from the extra health funding pledged by Boris Johnson this week. Though, of course, one can't simply recruit and train lots of extra staff overnight.